Is that a grizzly bear? An American bald eagle? Is that a woodchuck? Ferret? A kangaroo? Vin Diesel? Oh, this guy's better looking.
And welcome to another episode of What the Hell Happened to Them. Our brief Sandler jaunt is over. We have returned to Dwayne The Rock Johnson here. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Geriatric Joe Vekeman.
Oh, feeling old today.
And, of course, on the audio boards is our audio maven, making the sound you are craving, Slavin Rensselaer. Thank you for helping us today. And our sponsor today is the number I. That's right, not the letter, the number. All right, Joe, what is our movie this week?
Race to Witch Mountain.
Yes, okay, Joe, why don't you just dive on in with a quick plot synopsis?
I think we're back again with Andy Fickman's. They're The Rock's second collaboration with them. So we got a Las Vegas cabbie. Yes, The Rock is a cabbie now. Oh, he's down on his luck. That's what I want to get into right away. But yeah, he enlists, a Las Vegas cabbie enlists the help of a UFO expert to protect... I don't agree with the synopsis. Expert to protect two siblings with paranormal powers from the clutches of an organization that wants to use the kids for their nefarious plans. Hold up on all of that.
Yeah, I guess my 2 points to that are, one, I don't think any of that happened in this movie. And two, where the F were the witches?
I think it's supposed to, they're going to the mountain.
Okay, but to be fair, when I hear a title, Race to Witch Mountain, and we immediately begin with like a UFO montage to begin our movie, I go, well, this feels like false advertisement. This feels like blatant false advertisement. I expected witches. No witches were given.
Okay.
And there's not even a witch. It takes an hour for anyone to even mention a witch mountain. And then nobody's racing to it. They're like, all right, let's go there. And then they're there. And also nobody was trying to beat them there because the bad guys were already there. That's their base. That's where they live.
Oh, all right. So let's... There's so much. As much as I do not like this movie, there is a lot to talk about here. We got. So, do you know of the original Disney Pictures Escape to Witch Mountain and then Return to Witch Mountain back from like the 60s or 70s?
I knew there used to be a ride, and I remember this being part of Disney's like, let's make movies about rides because our generic pirate movie ended up being successful.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking like these movies
so I didn't know about these movies until the streaming app said, oh, hey, you finished this movie. Maybe you would like these other two Witch Mountain movies. And I go, no,
so
I didn't want this one.
After you saw the movie.
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was just based off of a ride that I assumed had witches involved somehow. And not just witches. I was imagining the witch from the Power Rangers. I don't know why.
Rita.
Yeah, whatever her name was. She had like these weird big horns. And she was like, like that's what I was imagining.
All right. Yeah, I knew about these movies because I was a child of divorce and I used to stay up late on my dad's couch on the weekend and whatever was on TV, I would watch. And at like 1 a.m, Disney would play these old classics they would have. And I used to watch Escape to Witch Mountain. It came on like twice, and I caught like some parts of it. Also, my grandma had the VHS tape. Never really cared for them. They're not very interesting to me. This movie continues that streak of not being interesting to me. But the two kids in that movie return in this movie as a non-important characters at all. One's a waitress and one's the
actors. They make cameos.
Very, very brief cameos that have no importance to the plot at all.
Yeah, they really focused on this blonde waitress, and I was just like, why are we spending so much time with her? I don't understand what the function here is.
Yeah, she was the original little girl.
And who was the kid?
Kim Richards is the little girl, and Ike Eisenman is the little boy. And the little girl played Tina, the waitress in this movie, and Sheriff.
Oh, the boy plays the sheriff.
Yeah.
Okay, another sort of weird thing that didn't feel overly necessary, and technically bought them time, but like the FBI's chasing aliens, and they're gonna let he's got like 80 armed guards, and like a sheriff's posse of 4 people's gonna stop them for bureaucratic red tape.
This movie.
And also, let's talk about other people who were in this movie that probably weren't needed. I don't know if you needed to cast Cheech Marin in that role. I don't know how well utilized he was for the 5 seconds he was on frame. I don't even think he got to make any jokes. Like, what was the goal? And I don't know how well Gary Marshall was utilized. I guess you wanted to feel like a big cameo, but like, I don't know. I guess he had a couple of lines that were supposed to be jokes, but didn't feel like it.
Disney players now. Cheech has been in the Lion King movies, and Gary Marshall has directed The Princess Diaries.
Yeah. Gary Marshall, big name, big important showrunner in our television history. But like, why are you casting him for the 2 minutes that we have him in there? You could have cast anyone. Is the star power of Gary Marshall's cameo bringing people to your movie based off of a ride starring The Rock? And Is this alien scientist lady anybody?
Yes. You don't know who Carla Gugino is?
No. Who is she?
She's pretty famous. I mean, I wish she had a better career, but
what is she in?
You're going to see her pretty often from now on. I mean, they have a few more collaborations. Her and The Rock do a couple more movies together.
That's her. That's his.
This is their before trilogy.
No, yeah, but what's the?
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, this is his Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of. Except for less interesting movies.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea is the same. Okay, I've never heard of this woman. I don't know what she's in. Anything important? Because I don't count this movie as important.
Give you some more rundown of her career, but I just wanted to we get right into it. I was like, I watched the movie once before because I owned the movie. Don't know why I do.
Because The Rock was in it, obviously.
Well, maybe, but I mean, I bought it. I don't know. I own a copy of it. I'm blown away by that because this movie's bad. But I was 5 minutes of the movie like, oh, okay. The Rock is really down in his luck. This is the first time where he's like, I don't know. He's
playing the Sandler role. Yeah.
I was into that. And then they don't do anything with it.
No, it doesn't matter. There's like a gangster subplot that comes up one other time in the film, and it's very easily resolved. I don't even think we meet the actual gangster. It's just his goons get taken out very quickly. So like, and theoretically, the movie ends and like The Rock is still on the run from this gangster in his bullet car.
So Carla Gugino has been working since '89.
Oh, Jesus! All right, I just don't know. Maybe she's not. Maybe she doesn't look recognizable, or maybe I've just not seen anything she's in.
Spy Kids. Have you seen the Spy Kids movies? She's like the mom in that.
Oh, really? Okay, I have seen Spy Kids. You know, when it came out.
American Gangster, Watchmen, and San Andreas, which will be coming up soon.
Oh, yay.
Wow. Maybe she's done TV. She's in Who's the Boss?
Oh, man. Yep. If that's where your career's beginning, I guess that's fine.
There's a Bueller TV show. I had no idea.
Oh, yes.
Wonder Years, Quantum Leap. I mean, she made the round. Spin City. She had a main role for 13 episodes.
That doesn't sound like a main role then of a TV show. In Spin City?
We have one season. Who knows? She's 96 to 98. That's pretty good.
She's that woman? Okay.
She's a working actress.
A working actress. Great. Good for her. Are these kids anybody? Do they go on to be people?
I've never seen them. I think one of them's in the Hunger Games. The boy.
Okay.
Maybe. I can look that up just to confirm.
You look that up. I will talk about The Rock. Seems to be particularly dumb in this movie. I don't know what the goal for that was.
Dumb.
It seemed to be trying to get some jokes out of it, but I don't think they worked that well. There are stormtroopers making an appearance in this movie even before Disney owned them. So that was sort of maybe that was like a licensing nightmare for them. Although, fun fact, one of those stormtroopers was played by Daniel Craig.
I like that.
And The Rock, like less bulky in this film. Like his neck seemed to be a reasonable size.
Wanted to bring that up too, yeah.
So is it because he's not wrestling anymore? He doesn't have to be like crazy bulk, just like regular jacked?
Yeah, I told you. I mentioned this around the Southland Tales episode that he looks like a little smaller in some of his roles now.
Yeah, this is where I'm really noticing it.
Don't get used to it, baby. Don't get used to it.
Oh, no, he's going to beef up again. He's going to be able to hold Kevin Hart through 4 movies, so it makes sense.
He could hold Kevin James with the bulk he's going to be putting on. So he is going to get so much bigger than he ever was in wrestling. Like, he's going to get like 3 times the size it looks like, because he goes back to wrestling a few years after this, just for like a couple of one-off matches with John Cena.
Yeah.
And he dwarfs every single wrestler on the roster at that point. And it's just like, why does this guy look like, he's enormous compared to every other guy they have. And yeah, they're like smaller guys like nowadays, but like he's gonna get so big, and it might be for the Fast and Furious franchise, but
okay,
it's Vin Diesel. But yeah, he's gonna get so big, and you're like, why is he so big? And I'm like, well, let's get into that. I can't wait to get into that. So Alexander Ludwig, the little boy. Some of the credits on this man's Wikipedia for his filmography. Holy shit. Airbud World Pup. MXP, Most Extreme Primate. Scary Godmother.
The sequel to MVP, Most Valuable Primate. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now we're talking about extreme.
Now he's skateboarding, probably.
Really small, tiny things, but like just the names of these movies. A Little Thing Called Murder. The Sandlot, Heading Home. Yeah, then he was in the Hunger Games, and then we've actually seen him before through using Grown Ups too.
He was? As what?
I think he plays the bully to one of Sandler's kids.
Oh, that's kind of funny. All right. And the girl, a similarly ill-fated career, probably.
He was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Tim Burton remake.
Okay.
She was in Soul Surfer. Have you heard of that one?
No.
The Way, Way Back. You know what? She's in The Way, Way Back. She's the female interest.
Oh, that movie was all right. Okay.
That's it.
Oh, geez. All right. Well,
some
TV shows. Well, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
Better than Murder, I think. What was the name of that movie that kid was in?
Hold on. This one's even better. She played the younger version of Carrie Bradshaw in the Carrie Diaries, the Sex and the City prequel series. From the CW.
Oh, on the CW? Yeah, I remember that. That was a weird...
Talk about ill-fated. It lasted 26 episodes, but that looks like it's just one season. I didn't really like the kids either, but you know who I did love to see for like the 10 minutes that he's in the movie?
Who?
I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He's an Irish actor. He's been in some great films. Ciarán Hinds. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
He's like the government guy.
He's the who guy?
The government, like... The guy who's coming after the kids.
Oh, like the main bad guy? Because there's like 3 government guys. Like this main guy and then like his 2, I don't know, goofy assistants.
I'll show you. Right. This guy.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I think he's the main bad guy.
What a face. What a great face.
I don't think I've seen him in things. I don't know. He doesn't look familiar to me.
Well, he's in There Will Be Blood. He plays...
He was in this, and then he went off to do There Will Be Blood?
Excuse you. He was in that first, and then he did
When did this movie come out?
2009.
Oh, shit. We gotten really far along. That's pretty good. Yeah. We're almost to now times. We're almost done here.
He's been in so many good things and then so many bad things. But, you know, he's got a great face.
He's just got to take the jobs that come. I don't blame him. And for the kids, I don't think they were set up to succeed here. I think they were like, let's have you be weirdos, weird blonde children that look like you have psychic powers. Oh, wait, you do. But only sometimes when we need that to be convenient. And, like, if they're part of the same race, why do they have different powers? And I don't understand how it is affected by them using more of their brains. There's no reason to think that their brains are similar to our brains. There's no reason for me to think that they actually are children, despite The Rock trying to convince me of that, because they just took on the form of children for some reason. I don't know. If they can move a car on their own, I don't know why they need The Rock to drive them. So that felt odd. I don't know what they took from those weird pod people things that seemed to be like the MacGuffin of this film, because also it never came up again. The Predator alien wanted it, but...
Oh, I'm so glad you say Predator, because that, I found out like from some like IMDb trivia shit, that Predator outfit was designed by the same people who do Alien versus Predator.
Oh, man. They have a niche. Mm-hmm.
They do. Have you ever seen... Okay, this is going to be really like... Have you ever heard of this movie? It's called Star Kid.
No.
Okay, yeah. My dad took me to see this movie at the Zoetrope. I think it came out like 98. I have no idea why I went to see this movie, why I wanted to, if I ever wanted to see it, if my dad was just like, here's a movie, I know you like movies, let's watch a movie. But he has like the Predator looking villain looks very similar to whatever outfit the Star Kid like alien costume is in that, and I'm like, what a weird looking costume. And then when they take off the helmet, I'm like, is that, I mean, it wasn't scary to me, but like, is that a little too scary for kids? Because it's like fleshy looking. I don't know.
It looks stupid. And I was like, over the course of the movie, they like actively try not to show this costume in full view, which is usually an attempt to be like, ooh, it's spooky, we're going to reveal it later. But ultimately, I'm just glad they didn't do it, because it just would have looked stupid really early on.
Yeah, it's bad. So, do you like the movie?
No, Joe. No. Like a big debate I had while I was watching the movie, I'm like, do I hate this more or less than the game plan? Because I honestly don't know. Because the game plan felt like it was like insulting and insipid. But this movie, it just feels like, well, why did we bother? Like, why did we put the effort into making it? It's not even kind of like cute or anything like the game plan was trying to be. So like, I just don't know what, like this movie just felt like a literal waste of my time. Like at least the game plan made me angry while I was watching it. But this movie came in and out of my life, and God willing, I'll forget it in a week and have a very happy life afterwards.
I feel the exact same way. But our guy, I mean, my guy at least, I don't know if you...
Your guy, The Rock?
Roger
Ebert?
A middling but pretty positive review. He says, I think Dwayne Johnson has a likable screen presence and is a good choice for an innocuous family entertainment like this. And he gave it 2.5 stars or whatever.
An innocuous family entertainment like that. Yeah, but like, I don't know. You can kind of read between the lines there. And what I've spent a lot of time watching Ebert and Roper growing up at like 12:30 on like a Saturday night, I think, or like a Sunday night. It was on like the weirdest times.
First all siblings.
But like, they always had a hard time dealing with kids' films. And a lot of times it was just like, yeah, kids will probably like it. And so they're like, give it a thumbs up. So
you
like,
know what?
Yeah.
Such a good point. They definitely did not know what to do with kids' films.
Yeah. They're like, well, we can't treat them like adult films because that's not why kids are going to the cinema. Like, you just sort of want to sit them down and like have 2 hours to yourself as a parent.
Yep.
You're like, how do I kill time with this fucking kid? What do I do? That's going to be your life soon, Joe. Of course, you will always love your children, but sometimes you're just going to be like, fuck, I need a break. Just shove them in front of the screen. Let Robin Williams sing genie songs to them for 2 hours. I need a nap.
I don't think either of them have seen Aladdin. I know Julian probably hasn't because he's like a baby, but I don't think Ellie has. Like, she's seen the new, like, the live action Will Smith Aladdin.
I look forward to, I was just about to make a joke about them making one. They actually made one.
Where were you last year? What the hell?
Living my best life.
Last year.
Who was the Aladdin?
He was just some actor. I don't know. I've never seen.
Just like the original cartoon Aladdin, a man whose credits primarily are playing Aladdin.
Not true.
And who is the genie?
That was DJ. No, hold on. We're gonna go back to Aladdin because that was DJ Tanner's boyfriend in Full House.
Okay, great. Yep, you proved me wrong there. Well done.
He had a pretty great career in the 90s.
Yeah, sure. That was his hot streak, being a side character on a forgettable sitcom.
Oh yeah, did you have to watch the first season of Full House?
Yes, I did for one of my. Don't laugh.
I remember that now. Oh my god, it's so funny. Oh,
yes, for those out there who don't know what the hell Joe's talking about, because of course you wouldn't. Back when I was doing a Kickstarter for my first feature, way back when, one of the pledges was like, if we raised a certain amount of money, I would watch and record myself watching all of the first season of Full House. My God, that was a long I think it was only 24 episodes, but holy crap, that took forever to get through. In my soul.
All right, so this movie was budgeted at $50 million. Does that sound good to you? $50 million?
No, not for what I saw on screen. I don't think anyone is worth. Like, it's not like any stars. Nobody should be commanding $10 million on this movie. So I don't know where that money went, because it couldn't have been the special effects.
Yeah, they look terrible.
I mean, I don't know if they just looked fine in 2009. I don't know. I thought this movie was like 2006, so I was giving them a pass. But 2009,
2009 was Avatar.
Yeah, I think you can do better. I think you can do better, Disney. I don't think you like. Jesus, I bet. I don't know. I bet there was too much marketing put in there or something. I guess. I don't know. I think you could do those cheaply.
Man, this movie was a huge success. It made $106.4 million.
Gross.
Yes. Gross. Or are we talking about a gross?
Why do they steal this dog from somebody's yard? It seems like they make The Rock stop driving the taxi while they're escaping from the FBI, so that they can bring in the dog, and then the dog like never matters anymore for the rest of the film. So like, why did we bother?
I don't have an answer for you.
Was there a dog in the original film? Is that why like they had to put in this dog cameo?
Making me recall like 8 years old. I don't know.
And then, of course, that leads us to the so classic joke of, I will never do X. And then immediately we cut to somebody doing X.
The hard cut, yeah.
So, like, I didn't, like, with this dog just is bringing nothing of use into this movie. And The Rock has, like, somehow fallen in love with these children like they're his own children after 80 minutes of movie. I don't know. Like, he's crying when they're leaving. Like, good. It's over. You did it.
Well, he had a shitty life. You think this is like a fun time for him? He's like, oh, and then he met this girl. This is a good period in his life.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good couple days for The Rock.
These were days? I thought it was hours.
Yeah, it might have been. I don't know. Like, it was night, then it was day. Did it get to be night again? I don't remember, Joe. I don't want to remember.
I don't want to remember either. This was painful for the 98 minutes it was on.
And it's weird that the aliens that are off screen that want to invade Earth, I guess, because they don't have... Oh, that's what the McGuffin was. It was like scientific data to prove that poison can be unpoisoned for their atmosphere, because the aliens come from a planet that they have poisoned, which you might guess was like, oh, this is not a bad bit of subtext, except that immediately the woman turns it into text when she's like, oh yeah, that's hard to imagine. And you're like, okay, lady, we were getting it, and thanks for being insulting. But anyway, the aliens like have poisoned their planet, so the government, military, I guess, wants to now invade our also poisoned planet to inhabit. I don't know why they couldn't find a less poisoned planet literally anywhere else in the solar system, because apparently they can go wherever they like.
I mean, the rules weren't really made very clear of how.
Yeah, I had no reason to think that the boy could make everybody's whatever molecular density different to save them from bullets. Very poorly drawn bullets.
Yeah, at the end when it's like it stops and goes into like not slow motion, just still frame.
Yeah,
and I'm
know.
What is happening? This looks terrible.
And I could get he touches the rock, he touches the lady, So fine, he can fix them by touching them, but he's not touching his sister. So I don't know why she gets magic powers too.
Yeah, she had the same thing as him.
It's like the other people of their race, they all have like X-Men powers, and it's just sort of random what you get. And I don't know how that relates to brain function, which is what they try to explain it. Which I don't think if they're aliens, I don't think you have to explain why they have powers. They're just aliens. They have those powers. I'm fine with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like talking about this movie, Joe. I don't like it. And I don't understand. And this woman's talking about the scientist lady's talking about like chaos theory, but like pulling things out of her ass as to why it like all happened. I'm not buying any of what this movie should be trying to be less scientific. And I don't understand. Like they have a whole conversation based on his keychain, but I don't understand why his keys are in the RV. It's not his RV. They stole that, so he shouldn't be driving it with his own keys. So, like, why are we dealing with this bullet plot point? I don't even care about the car.
I don't remember that.
There's also, like, an immigration subtext to this movie where, like, I don't know, they're like, we're taking them because they're illegal aliens. They don't even have passports. And I'm just like, we're not even doing a good job of being subtextual in this film. Like, kids aren't getting your reference already, so you're really just talking down to the parents who have to bring them. And how are we still dissecting aliens? Like, why is that the government's go-to? They can talk, they have an advanced technology, and your goal is like, oh, let's see how their organs work. Just have a conversation with them and figure out how the universe works. What the F, American government? And then like at the end, like I guess the president's mad at him because a bunch of aliens destroyed his building and stole their ship back. But if I were the president, I'd like give that guy a break, because why would we think that we could be in charge of people capable of light speed travel? Like we can't just hold them prisoner and assume everything's going to go well. They have magic powers. So like we shouldn't expect, I don't know, I feel bad for the villain at the end because it's like he just was set up to fail. I don't know. All right, I'm done. I'm over it.
The whole Carla Gugino plot line where she comes in at like the first like 3 minutes of the movie and she's in it for like maybe 1 minute at that point. And she's just in the cab and she mentions that she is going to be lecturing at an alien convention or whatever, like it was like whatever supernatural being. And then 50 minutes into the movie, The Rock brings it up to the two kids. He's like, oh, my friend who knows all about this. And I'm like, your friend? He says the word friend. I'm like, you met this woman for like 5 minutes.
She was one of the many crazy people you have brought about in your Las Vegas taxi cab, The Rock. You have no kinship to her.
Stormtroopers.
Yeah, the stormtroopers that like also help save the day at the end.
Yeah, no, I don't agree. That's not his friend. He shouldn't be ownership of her.
And she doesn't even, I don't even know what helpful thing she like, I guess she hooks them up with Gary Marshall and then like tricks a bunch of scientists and like, so that they could get to this very generic looking spaceship, this very uninteresting designed spaceship so that kids understand that it's a UFO. And then like he goes on a big conversation with her where she's like, I'm into gray areas. And he's just like, I only do black and white. To which I say, 1, I don't care. 2, it's never come up in this movie. And 3, don't worry, The Rock. This movie has no gray areas in it, so you're probably fine. So in the original movie, Joe, are they aliens or are they just weird kids?
They're definitely aliens, but like I said, I don't remember those. I haven't watched them so long, but I know they exist. That's my one thing I was adding to that.
I just don't know why we assume that aliens always talk in like really specific, perfect dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
Which seems to kind of go away at the end of the movie. It's almost like the writer got tired of writing those lines.
Yeah.
And they finally stopped saying his name all the time. And they said his name so much, I'm like, oh, this will be one of the times I finally remember The Rock's characters' names. But as I'm trying to say it now, the only thing that's coming to mind is like Jack Torrance. And I go, that's not right. That's a different movie.
You got the first part right. How do you not remember Jack Bruno? They said
Jack
it like
Bruno. Yes, I know. So I really thought it was going to stick with me. But here I am, 36 hours later. And I go, nope, I do forget. So like, that's, yeah, great. Good work, The Rock. You've made an indelible impression with this character on my mind.
I wanted to start a drinking game, but I don't drink anymore. But I was just like, there should be a drinking game every time you hear a character say Jack Bruno, then just take a drink. And like, Jesus, you'd be on the floor 15 minutes into the movie. It's crazy. It's so how many times do you need to mention the guy's name? Like even the government agents are saying it.
Yeah, and I don't understand why the Predator. There's a really annoying moment where the Predator alien is trying to find them with his ship in a tunnel, and there's like a spotlight creeping up towards the taxi, and then eventually it's just like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah, no.
The ship can clearly go through a tunnel, as it does later on, so I don't know why it just doesn't go in there and look for it.
It's so lazy.
It's the world's laziest spotlight.
Yeah.
You can travel faster than light, just fucking zip in and out real quick. I don't understand how The Rock is eluding you with his taxi driving skills. And I'm really impressed that Cheech Marin could fix that car up so well in less than an hour.
You make a good point. They did nothing with them. No jokes, not one single joke.
Yeah, he gets like 2 lines and they're just like, okay, I'll fix this thing. The end.
Patrick. Let me tell you something.
Yes, Joe.
I don't know if next week will be any better.
Okay, what's next week?
We might be really hitting rock bottom.
Yeah.
Next week is a movie that I don't even know how it got released or like this. We can dig into the actual release and probably more. You can hopefully find some stuff with me. It looks like it's a Spanish like production. It's an international co-production by Spanish, British, and American companies.
Yeah.
It's produced by Madrid-based Ian Animation Studios and Handmade Films. Have you heard of either of those companies?
No. Are we watching an animated film next?
You're watching, I believe, the only animated movie. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember Dwayne Johnson's filmography right now. But this is the first one, definitely, he's ever done. It's called Planet 51.
I have no idea what this movie is. Although, is it like another alien movie?
I wanted to talk about posters. Look at that poster.
Okay. Well, that's good, because you know what? I need a break from The Rock doing movies in the genre that Hollywood loves oh so much that I will call, this guy's gonna take care of these kids.
Yeah.
Like, I need a break from that. Because
well, I might not be getting one because this looks like the same thing.
What?
But animated.
That's not what that poster's telling me.
I don't know what I don't know what this poster's telling me. But we do get the end of one of our before trilogies because guess who is in this movie with Dwayne Johnson?
I don't know. Is Sean William Scott?
Yes, he is.
Oh, good Lord. He has fallen. Crazy? He has come a long way. I wonder if they ever got to like hang out. I bet they didn't, but that's sad.
Like in the recording booth or something?
Yeah, like I usually don't bring in multiple actors. You do in other countries, but in America not so much. It's sort of a rarity that Pixar offers people, letting like Billy Crystal and John Goodman act in the booth together for Monsters, Inc., but like that's as far as we'll go.
The cast for this movie, the movie we're watching next week.
Why would us not talk about next week's movie this week? I don't want to get hyped up. I'm not hyped up. I'm angry. I'm annoyed.
All right. Well.
All right, because clearly the days of Southland Tales are long by us now, and I've got to sit through this. And you know what? I was worried it was going to be as bad as when Sandler went through this phase, but like I don't think it will be, because you know what? At least Bedtime Story had like Rob Schneider going like it's free, and just sort of like these little Sandler-esque twists.
Remember anything from Bedtime Stories
on their scripts
5 years ago?
Yeah. Like, it's not it's one of Sandler's worst films, but at least there were a couple of Sandler moments in there. Like, I think the problem why I'm having a hard time getting, like, I'm not getting Rockholm syndrome this time around because.
I love it.
because at least Sandler has, like, this kind of a personality. I don't think The Rock does. He's just, like, generically good-looking, muscular guy that does the right thing.
No, so how could I fucking forget Moana? For his animated movie.
Yes. Yeah, I remember being in that. A more memorable film than probably Planet 51 will be. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Yeah. Race to Witch Mountain. Jack Bruno. Oh,
yeah, I get it. Yeah, every sentence has to end with Jack Bruno. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Great. I'm glad they didn't make a sequel to this movie like they did the other movie, despite it being a hit. It felt like they very easily could have, unless The Rock was like, I don't want to do that again.
Oh my goodness. No, did you hear what I said though? I want you to, if it's possible, get a supercut of everyone saying Jack Bruno in this movie.
I'll see if Lev's got time for that this week.
I mean, I don't want to put any pressure on you. Don't if you can. If you can find it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we can pull together for this week's
We can
episode.
probably fill a good 45-second chunk of everyone saying Jack.
Yeah, there's like also like a bit with like the Rock's taxi dispatcher, which one doesn't go anywhere. It's just sort of an excuse to have the FBI track them, but there could be a million reasons why you do that. Two, this dispatcher can't hold a candle to Danny DeVito. They just should have put Danny DeVito in the movie.
You want to swap out? Wow, hold on. Wow, God, I'm just coming to a realization on something, but I don't want to spoil anything for you for later on.
Okay.
But I would love to swap out Danny DeVito for The Rock.
No. I want The Rock to work at a taxi cab place from the show Taxi, where Danny DeVito is his dispatcher, and he works with Judd Hirsch and Mary Lou Henner and Tony Danza and Andy Kaufman and Christopher Lloyd and the boring actor guy I don't like. That is what I want.
Would Jim Carrey be playing Andy Kaufman to fill that void?
Yeah, I guess you'd have to have it be like that.
He's not alive anymore. You have to figure out something.
Jim Carrey's alive.
No, Andy Kaufman.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm saying you probably have to have Jim Carrey do that. I also want, in this new Batman movie that Alberto showed me the trailer for this week, one, I wish Batmen would all stop talking like this because we're Batman. I wish like Daniel Day-Lewis would come in and do a weird, unexpected voice for Batman like he did for Lincoln. Hi, I'm Batman. I will be your Cape Crusader this weekend. Two, I wish the Riddler in this movie were Jim Carrey. Let me make sure people know what I want. I want the Jim Carrey Riddler from the Bad movie in this dark. I don't want Jim Carrey crazy Riddler in a cartoony movie where Jim Carrey is also cartoony. I want Jim Carrey Riddler cartoony in a movie that's trying really hard not to be cartoony. I think you could do something interesting with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's everyone's been complaining about a Schumacher cut after the Zack Snyder cut is a thing now. And
a cut that cost him an additional $70 million to make.
You were complaining about this.
Like, why? Why are we wasting our money on these things?
Yeah, they're doing reshoots, and it makes no sense because if the movie existed, then why can't you just put it together?
Well, I read somewhere that technically these reshoots count as a sequel so that they don't have to be contractually obligated to put these actors in another Justice League movie.
Oh,
so they can reboot everything now and start fresh.
Well, they're trying to do that with the Flash.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, you're rebooting it in hopes that people are going to give you another shot, which they probably will because they're all addicts. So, like, why are you even rebooting then? Just deal with the negative press. It's clearly not hurting you. Your terrible movies still make a paltry $650 million.
Yeah, that's like nothing.
I'm sorry, it's not $1 billion, but like,
what are we doing here?
That's what you're doing when you're not trying. So why would you try?
Did you know that The Rock will be in the DC universe?
Why?
He's going to be Black Adam.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either, but he announced it.
I don't want to watch these movies. God damn it.
It's only going to be one, and it might not be till 2022. So
I'm going to be much choosier with the third. I'm not going to let you have carte blanche again. You got away with it with Sandler. It ended up paying off. I can't. I'm not doing another one. I did not
choose Dwayne Johnson.
I'm being very particular. You have been pushing for Dwayne Johnson for years. You love him. You love him. And yeah. So, I just want to be careful because this is, it's hard. This is hard. This is hard work. This podcast.
So you guys on the line right now. Let me stir up the pot.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you checked out the trailer for a new Netflix movie this week that got announced. It's coming out in November, right before Thanksgiving. It's one of America's most how can I put this?
Top model.
Boring directors.
Okay.
And I
Ron Howard.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I want to say
Yes!
that he's the most boring director I've ever seen make a movie. I think he's made maybe 1 or 2 good movies out of his like 40 or 50 movie career. How many fucking movies this guy has? But this Hillbilly Elegy movie is a crime. It is a crime this movie exists.
Ron Howard is making a movie about hillbillies?
It stars Glenn Close and Amy Adams, who are definitely going to get nominated for Oscars this year.
As hillbillies?
Patrick.
I don't know what's this movie about. Hillbilly Elegy.
I'm going to send you the trailer for this afterwards.
Okay.
And you can comment next week.
Are they going to eat people like in The Hills Have Eyes?
Oh, I wish that was the plot to this movie.
Or presumably in The Hills Have Eyes 2, The Hills Have Even More Eyes?
Was there a sequel?
There was a sequel. That's not the full title, but it is something like The Hills Have Eyes 2.
Ron Howard would be the most interesting, boring choice we could make because he has just made... He makes big movies with big movie stars. They're just so middle of the road and
but they do two things. They always get nominated for awards unjustly, and they always make a bunch of money at the box office, which is our fault. So, like, of course he's going to keep making movies and get stars.
But he put in a giant Marvel star, or 2 Marvel stars, into a movie about Moby Dick. And the movie was the biggest bomb. And I saw it, and it put me to sleep. How can you be...
Yeah, but you knew that movie was going to be bad when they had to set a release date, then get close to that release date, then pull the movie, and then set a new release date. You knew that was not going well at that point. Like, anytime a movie has to go back for extra CG touch-ups, not a good sign.
Yeah.
When it happened to the second Godzilla film, I was like, oh, man, that's going to be a terrible movie. I went and saw it anyway because I'm an addict, but
well, people
you just knew.
The new Wonder Woman movie, and that's what happened last year with it. And the same thing with the James Bond movie everybody wants. Yeah. And that's been moved like 3 times now.
I don't blame movies being moved for Corona. Like, that is not the same thing.
The James Bond movie was supposed to come out last November.
Oh, really?
It was supposed to come out, and we were supposed to have that movie already. And the same thing with the Wonder Woman movie. We were supposed to have that too. They both got moved to 2020. Little did they know that they should just put it out, and they would have gotten a lot more money than they would ever have now.
Yeah, I'm not expecting to. I'll watch the James Bond movie because I like Daniel Craig's rendition of the character, and I like Rami Malek, but I'm not expecting much from it. I didn't I didn't like Spectre all that much.
Yeah, me neither.
After Skyfall. Yeah, it's actually interesting how much I like Daniel Craig's rendition, but how underwhelmed I am by half of the films of this franchise. Yeah. And even Casino Royale, I only kind of like. I just really, really like Skyfall. But, like, I like their approach to this character in these films. I just don't think they've made sort of the best movies out of it. I don't think they took the most advantage of it.
Yeah.
But, here we are. So, I don't know. Yeah, okay. They raced there very quickly. I want it to be like Wacky Races. Do you remember that cartoon with all the Hanna-Barbera characters like racing each week?
You know what?
From like this, you don't remember this 60s staple cartoon, Joe, with Snidely Whiplash and his dog on a motorcycle?
That is so weird that you mentioned that, because the new Scoob remake has those characters, so they're trying to build a giant...
Oh, they want to build a Barbera-verse?
Yeah,
Hollywood, stop making cinematic universes, okay? It worked one time and probably only this one time, and that's probably going to start dying soon. So, like, let it go. And I can't believe how popular Scooby-Doo is. Like, Hanna-Barbera really only had 3 successful cartoons when you look at episode output, and it's like the Flintstones, the Jetsons, and Scooby-Doo. And the Flintstones and the Jetsons kind of make sense because they were prime time and had like 100 episodes. Scooby-Doo had like 40 episodes, was only done on Saturday mornings, and like 50 years later, kids are still watching this thing, and they're making movies of it all the time. How did we get here? It's not that great of an idea. There's only so many times you can do the monster in a mask thing / oh no, now it's a real monster. And like, Scooby Snacks are such a terrible branding. Why would you make a whole company devoted to servicing one dog?
I never thought about that, and that is a great point. On that note, though, let me tell you, a laugh track with a cartoon, great idea. I love it.
Well, yeah, it came from, the Flintstones doing well, and it was meant to be like a primetime sitcom, so they always put a laugh track in there because they were trying to do the Honeymooners.
It's so fun.
Okay.
I don't know. I like that.
What I always liked in Scooby-Doo was, like, you always knew when a bad guy was going to pop out or a secret passage was going to happen because that part of the background was painted a slightly different color since it was going to be animated by a different animator.
I liked when their skin color changed.
Yeah.
Like from Shaggy would all of a sudden be like really brown. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. It happens in the early Simpsons episodes too, like where Smithers is brown. And
Yeah, well, but it didn't change in an episode. Like, they just, like, I don't know, people's, like, Clancy Wiggum's hair is, like, black for, like, a lot of episodes. And they didn't figure out which characters were going to be yellow and which characters were going to be brown yet. So, like, yeah, like, a lot of weird, and that goes, like, relatively late. Like, even in season 7, 8, like, those, I don't know what was going on between what they were doing in America and what Koreans were doing for the in-betweening, but, here we are. Okay, clearly we're not talking about Race to Witch Mountain anymore, so I guess we can go on to Last Looks unless you have anything else you want to add to this movie of which there's nothing to talk about, because, like, who cares?
We're so apathetic about it.
Yeah, at least it's not 8 Crazy Nights, but, like...
we still haven't hit that low yet?
No, like, it's not that. It's not, like, literally one of the worst things I've ever seen in Experience, but, like I really didn't... Like, I legitimately felt like I was wasting my time watching this film.
I did too, especially when I was like, I'd like to sleep.
Yeah, there was not a redeeming thing about... I guess like Ebert says, if The Rock might be charming, maybe. I don't know. I'm just like... Like, his lines are terrible. He's oddly stupid for some reason. He has yet to figure out this very important Hollywood skill of acting against green screens or pretending CG effects are happening. So, like, it's, like, really awkward a lot of the film where he's, like, ducking, but, like, not really, and, like, he's throwing himself against a wall because the camera's shaking, so we're supposed to think something is happening inside this weird cabin they're in with a weird fridge, and then he goes outside and the sky's pink for some reason. Jesus, Joe, I don't care.
He just doesn't want to be a wrestler anymore.
I know, and he still has to, like, you think he'd be better at faking things, being a wrestler, but, like, I have no reason to believe he's seeing what's in the screen with him most of the time.
It's a hard transition, but, you know, I feel like
he must get used to it at some point, because I imagine it's all he's doing now based on the trailers I see.
I mean, have you seen the trailer for his giant monkey movie?
Rampage?
Yes, okay, you remember that one.
I only remember that one because I used to play that game growing up at the arcade, back when those were a thing. Yeah.
Rampage. I saw that movie.
God, let's not talk about it. Let's save it. I don't have the energy. Or any last looks? My last looks are, The Rock sticking with Disney because the last Disney film he did made a bunch of money. So Disney's willing to put him in a major role in these kind of throwaway films that they kind of turn this quick profit on and then move on to the next thing. Disney hopefully has learned to stop making movies based off of rides. What other rides have they turned into movies? Like, is like Tomorrowland a ride? Yeah,
Tomorrowland is a ride, and wow,
the Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy.
Novice, because The Rock loves Disney. Moana, which is the movie I keep forgetting, but the movie that was supposed to come out this summer, he had a movie called Jungle Cruise with Emily Blunt that was supposed to come out. The movie had Emily Blunt and Paul Giamatti. I believe. I hope he's the villain in the movie. Oh my God! Please give me Paul Giamatti as the villain.
Yeah, it feels easy to do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but give it to me. I want it. I want some of that good cheese. Give me a good slice of cheese on there.
Okay.
Oh, Paul Giamatti and cheese.
Have you been to Disney, Joe? I have not. Have you been on this Race to Witch Mountain ride? Is it anything like this movie? Would anyone go on that ride and be like, oh yeah, this tracks? Are there witches in that ride, or is it about aliens?
I don't know.
Why were there no witches in this movie?
I don't know. I was supposed to go this year with my family, though, and then the pandemic happened, and I'm like, we're not going anymore.
With your kids, I feel like they're too young to enjoy Disney.
Well, we were gonna take Ellie, and then
leave the baby behind. Wow, Joe.
He would have been fine.
Just drop him off at a fire station.
No, absolutely not. Oh, goodness. Don't say that.
Okay.
You've been me that loves them.
Well, when you go, tell me and of course our audience what's going on.
Be a while. We're not
this feels like one of those rides I bet they would update now, and I bet it has The Rock in it. Like being like, hey, we're racing. Here we go. Come in my taxi cab. And like I almost thought, like, is the taxi cab riding on these train tracks? Is that like a nod to the ride? Is the ride essentially just that? Like you're on a taxi cab and you're going on these rails, and like, I don't know, they're singing "What a Small World It Is." These aliens around you.
That's not the song that plays during that ride. That's a different ride.
Yeah, but like it would make more sense in that ride. Aliens being like, "Hey, it's a small universe after all, people. There's more out there." And Mulder and Scully kind of pop in, and they're like, "Yes."
Oh, that could happen. That's a Fox-owned property.
Oh, good Lord. The Race to Witch Mountain X-Files crossover movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the world wants. All right.
Yeah.
I'm ready to wrap
possible.
up. Let's do this.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank my co-host, Joe, for joining us this week.
You sound like you're putting a bathrobe on and pulling the lever back on your chair as you put your slippers on. You're like,
I do the Al
go.
Bundy, put my hand in my pants, like half in there, just hanging out. I'd like to thank Lev Van Rensselaer for, putting up with this episode. I'm sure it will be gold for him to edit and make us sound like we had a good time. I'd like to thank our sponsor, the number I, that is the square root of -1 for you Philistines out there.
It's not the Roman numeral?
It is not the Roman numeral. It is just the number I. Okay. It is imaginary, but it doesn't mean it's not an important part of our lives, and it doesn't make it any less real in our hearts. And I guess you can find my features, documentaries, short films, animations, behind-the-scenes footage, video essays, and so much more at quixoticunited.com, and presumably on social medias with a very similar-sounding name. Thank you all for listening. Joe, say goodnight.
Good night.
Rello on me. Rello on me.
Forgive my sins. It's Hubie.
Your sins of mispronouncing the name of the movie.
I like saying Hubie, but it's okay.
Let's just call it Hubie. Hell, what does Sandler give a shit? He's getting paid out the wazoo for it. He call it whatever he wants,
Well, he should be getting paid double because that movie was a new classic.
A new classic.
That movie should be inducted into the Criterion Collection, just like the new Netflix films like The Irishman and Marriage Story.
I don't think I will ever live down this take I had of the vomit joke being inspired, which isn't.
Why? Have people talked to you about it?
Yeah, all week I've been getting razzed on it, and I just want to clarify for you, Joe, that it wasn't. Inspired was not the right word, but I wanted to get across the idea of, like, it wasn't just some throwaway fart joke like they had later in the movie. It was a joke designed to bring us into the world. It's so weird. Like, I've seen people vomit on film, but this was like a very cartoonish, ridiculous vomiting very quickly, and his life goes back. So inspired's not the right word. So people lay off me, okay?
Let me tell you something.
What?
When you're being recorded, everything you say means something.
I know.
Also, that joke last week in that movie was inspired compared to anything in the movie we're talking about this week.
Yeah.
And I am really scared to start talking about this whenever you're ready.
So before we begin, can I tell you have I told you about this scarf that was mysteriously sent to me?
No, tell me.
Yeah, shortly after the pandemic began, I received a scarf from China. The scarf was sent back in November. It just took a while to get to me because of customs and all this pandemic stuff. But the scarf is like a very famous scarf. I had been calling it for weeks a Hermes scarf, and then somebody was like, "No, that's an Hermes," and I'm like, "What does that mean?" And so it's like essentially like a scarf that costs several hundreds of dollars.
Oh wow!
And we have no idea who sent this to me or why, and no one has owned up to it. So, and then I got something else in the mail that I don't know who sent it to me. And much more recently, on like Thursday, I received a book in the mail, which is probably the quaintest, mysterious gift I've been giving. But the book is sort of odd. It's called Balcony of Fog, and it like comes. You have to download an app with it, and like you read the book, and then you go to the app at the same time, and like music will play, or like an image will play, or something to help bring the experience of the book to life. Maybe. So I don't know, Joe. Are you sending me weird gifts a lot? Like, where are these gifts coming from?
I was gonna assume it was like one of your other friends.
No, I don't know. The scarf is particularly weird because when it was ordered, most people didn't know my address. So I have no idea who could have sent it, why they would send it, why they would think I would want a scarf in Southern California. I don't know what's going on.
But hey, a lot of people wear some like very warm clothing in LA.
Well, yeah,
Like-
because they're like from here and they're not used to. They're like, oh my god, it's 50 burr. I'm so cold.
Yeah. Well, when I went with Tanya 2 years ago, when I took her for the first time, and I was like, you don't really need anything too warm. And then she as she comes into the room right now, she's wearing the sweater I bought her. She said she was cold, and it was like 55 outside, and I'm like, you're cold in California. And so I bought her an $80 sweatshirt.
Oh yes, I remember this shirt.
Oh yes.
All right, you ready to go on in?
I'm all ready.
All right.